Today we're going to be talking about Volkswagen of America managing IT priorities. Our group is Group 3 and it consists of myself, Kirsten Hansen, Chen Ding, Marcos, Caesar, and David. The outline that we followed for this case goes over the general issues, stakeholders, theories and concepts involved, the symptoms and problems, the alternatives and evaluation criteria, best solutions and implementation plan, evaluation and review of the project, and then finally the current status of Volkswagen.
Now I will tell you the facts. Ferdinand Percy designed the first Volkswagen automobiles during the 1930s in Germany. The company's signature patent by the late 1940s was the Beetle, which with its rounded styling and reliable air-cooled engines became internationally popular. After peaking in the late 1960s, the pattern of sales for the North American subsidiary of Volkswagen settled into a trailing cycle at ups and downs. During the 10 years from 1992 through 2002, VWA executives focused on turning the VW and Audi brands around in the US market. In 1999, a new Volkswagen Group company was created in the United States, JDAS USA Inc., which was a US subsidiary of JDAS AG, the consolidator of an IT operation within global Volkswagen Group of companies. In 2002, the ELT at VWA, in conjunction with the global IT organization, decided that a new business unit was required within VWA. In May 2015, Volkswagen surpassed Toyota in sales and became the world's largest automobile manufacturer. Volkswagen and its 11 subsidiaries sold 10.7 million vehicles in 2017, and an increase of 4.3% toward the previous years.
So we'll be talking about the challenges. Dr. Matlovich was struggling with all members of the ELT team on establishing which project was going to be the priority. 2, VWA struggled to keep an staffed IT department due to budget issues that they were experiencing. 3, VWA struggled to keep sales level with all the new models as they tried to produce brand loyalty. So the main stakeholders are, first, internal, VW of America, VW Group, Executive Leadership Team, Bentley, Skoda, the Audi brand group, Audi itself, Seat, Lamborghini, IT staff, JDAS USA, e-business teams, and business units across America. The external stakeholders are Petrosystems, the customers, local and international competitors.
For the theories and concepts, we went with IT governance and Volkswagen's next round of growth, the NRG program that they were initiating in their Americas company. Effective IT governance will lead to an attainment of strategic goals, efficient operations, reliable measurements, and lastly, compliance management. Furthermore, if they do have effective IT governance in the company, they will be able to create influences in their IT business alignment, investment value, project delivery, service delivery, resource management, their measurements of IT performance, and lastly, their risk management. So by having effective IT governance, that will allow for the members of the BPTO and Volkswagen America strategy groups to pick priorities that are associated with the funding investments that will let them meet their ultimate goals of increasing their brand loyalty with customers and reducing the Himalaya sales trends that they've been encountering recently.
For the problems and symptoms, we had key IT projects not being funded. We had informal requests to include unfunded projects into the IT work plans. The proposed IT projects between the business units needed a budget of $210 million, but only $60 million were available. Volkswagen experienced a sales Himalayas chart, which were up and down. There was very poor IT knowledge within the company, and they were like mismanaged projects. The problems were like the prioritization process was not effective, the business unit's failure to make the case for IT, there was a lack of shared vision between Volkswagen of America and the Volkswagen Group, categorization mistakes on the projects, IT projects interdependency, and 16 out of the $60 million available for IT projects were gonna be used to update legacy infrastructure projects. Another problem was a very slow introduction of new car models. Volkswagen was overrepresented in the small car and lower price segments, and at the same time being underrepresented in the mid-size sports, utility, and special purpose vehicles. The IT services were outsourced to the Pirot systems. IT employees were transferred to this provider. There was a failure to align IT to the company's strategy, and they didn't have a project management office. The decision criteria for these problems were had enough funds necessary for the IT projects to support the energy goals by 2004 within a $16 million budget, to introduce over 22 new car models by 2008, to recover the sales and move out of the valley of despair by the end of the 2000s, and to centralize IT services management under Volkswagen Group GIDAS USA by 2004, and creating a project management office by 2004. For the alternatives and the evaluation criteria. So we have different alternatives. The first one is to drop the lowest ranked projects on the portfolio. The pros for this, it will be that Volkswagen will focus on the projects better aligned with the company's strategy. The portfolio will be within the budget. The cons for this one will be that some projects that appear to be non-critical could create major problems or missed opportunities. Some business units won't receive funding at all, and some business units' obsolete infrastructure may fail and disrupt the operations in the future. Another alternative we have is to apply an equal percentage of funds to each of the gold project portfolio. The pros for this is going to respect Volkswagen budget for IT. Every business unit will get part of the budget. All projects can be initiated. But the cons for these alternative are that some projects won't receive the required funding to be completed. Some business units may receive extra funding that can be used in other areas. Some unfunded projects can impact the global operation. Another alternative we have is to fund projects associated with the most critical goals. The pros for these are key projects will be funded in alignment with Volkswagen strategy. The PMO will gain lessons from the project execution, and it will be within Volkswagen budget. The cons for this is that some business units may feel that they are not being supported by the Volkswagen Group. Some projects won't receive the required fundings to be completed. The next alternative is to revise the proposed projects and reallocate enterprise funds to cover all the critical projects. So the pros for this is that critical projects will receive enough funding. Volkswagen will understand better its needs to be covered through IT, but the cons for this is that several projects may be cancelled indefinitely. Finally, our chosen alternative is to fund first the top-ranked business unit projects in relation to the energy goals and follow with the next highest ranked ones. The pros for this is that Volkswagen will focus on the top projects aligned with the global strategy. Resources will be allocated efficiently. Success on project execution will help making the case for IT. PMO will have better control over the resources and the project execution. Volkswagen will move faster on the different project categories, stay in business, return of investment, OCI, base enterprise IT platform, etc. The cons for this alternative is that some projects won't be funded and may be critical to the success of other top-ranked projects. It will focus all the resources in very few projects. It may lead back to outsourcing IT services, and Volkswagen business unit may not benefit entirely from those top-ranked projects.
But for Volkswagen's implementation plan, they're going to need to have a three-step process: calling for projects, the formal project request, and the BU to enterprise goal portfolio. For the first step of the process, they're going to need 212 days to begin the formal process to call projects in order to be filed with the PMO. Projects will be mapped with a business architecture. For the second part of the process, the formal project request will be a give or take 31 days. The project information will be clearly identified, including the investment type and technological application type. For the last step of the process, which is the shortest process out of all of them, it's the BU to enterprise goal portfolio. They'll need to convert business unit focused project portfolio into an enterprise focused portfolio. So for the evaluation of our implementation plan, we're going to have the following Volkswagen's project prioritization for NRG. Volkswagen was able to identify a proper way of project selection. Through the Program Management Office, they had the ability to create control over company resources. And this is by understanding company resources, they had and increased their chances of better project execution. It created transparency between initiatives that would normally depend on or affect other projects. So Volkswagen was able to recommend funding certain BU projects based on the highest ranked portfolio, keeping with their enterprise goal areas.
So for Volkswagen now, one of the largest scandals that just happened a couple years ago was dubbed Dieselgate. So basically, for almost a decade, they were programming their cars to shut off the exhaust controls, saying that their cars were actually producing way less emissions than they actually were. And the cars are actually putting out illegal levels of two different types of nitrogen oxides. The company ended up paying $25 billion in fines. One executive was put into jail for 7 to 9 years, and that was to make an example of the company in the Americas to the German stakeholders. But since then, sales have recovered for the company. In October 2nd of 2018, they had sales totaling 3,555 units, which was a decrease of 4.8% over September of 2017, but an increase on the year-to-date sales by 5.5% over 2017. On October 10th of this year, the new Audi CEO will run the VW US operations starting just November 1st. This replaces the previous CEO of Volkswagen America, Heinrich Wolbecken. He was a CEO for the last 2.5 years. Just a few days ago, VW was meeting with the Trump administration to try and stop the imposition of the different tariffs that they've been talking about putting on foreign-built cars. And then just yesterday, Volkswagen and Ford announced that they'll be starting an alliance to lower the costs by increasing the economies of scale between the two companies. So that's our case about Volkswagen, and thank you for listening, and good luck on your finals.